My name is Carl Brown. I am the executive director and co-founder of the Startup Zoo. I am a recovering entrepreneur and multi-time founder. I used to be a corporate refugee and am now in the phase of my life where I get to spend most of my time working with other founders, helping them figure out how to grow their businesses. And we are fortunate as well to be partnered with Kalamazoo, as well as a bunch of others in the Small Business Support Hub program funded by the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. And this is kind of the problem that we've seen in this community. I've known Sandra for a long time, a lot of the folks in the room for a long time. And in this community over the last 15 years, we've seen over 300 founders leave Kalamazoo. And part of the challenge in seeing that happen has been that things that are provided in this building for folks in a very narrow niche around life sciences and biotech and med device are really hard to find in other industry spaces. So super quickly, how many of you, quick show of hands, are working on an entrepreneurial project, whether it's already a business you're running, whether it's something you're planning, whether it's something you're... Okay, most of the room, that's good, that's good. Keep your hands up if you're working on a service project where you're gonna be doing a thing for other customers. All right, that's a lot. How many of you are working on a product concept where you've got something that you're going to produce and sell? 4, 5, okay. How many of you are working on a technology product where you've got a platform that you're going to build that's going to do something for the world? 1. Okay, so part of what we've seen in Kalamazoo over and over and over again is that mix is really common. We see a lot of folks thinking that service is an accessible thing that you can do from here. Let me give you a quick heads up. This city is small. And that whatever service you're going to offer, there are 10x the customers in Chicago, there are 100x the customers in LA, and there are 1,000x the customers in New York. Also, there are just as many competitors in all of those cities that are doing the same thing that you're trying to do. Because if it's a smart idea here, it's a smart idea there. And in today's market, the customer doesn't care where you are. They just want the best service at the best price. So we look at how we use community here to connect folks to create opportunity. Like Ken said, it's about getting in the room. It's about getting folks connected to each other. And in doing that, we see 2 significant challenges. First is the relationship gap. Most of what we've seen in folks thinking that they want to start a service company or thinking that they're trying to build from a service perspective is that they don't have the relationships yet to convert that service into a product or to convert that service into a platform that allows customers to do what they need to without having to interact with a person, right? Like if you look back 50 years ago, you had to call an insurance broker to get your auto insurance. Today, there are 97 different ways to buy auto insurance online on your phone in 5 minutes. And looking at how the business community moves forward and how opportunity moves forward is part of the work that we do at Startup Zoo in helping folks to analyze how do we go from the thing you're passionate about doing to identifying the problem you're trying to solve for the consumer, and then what's the best mechanism to execute that work. And then the second piece of it is in order to do that, you need capital. And most of us haven't raised capital before and don't know what it actually takes and don't recognize that the markets that provide capital are a very efficient industry, and they know exactly how they want things to look, and if it doesn't look and function that way, they can't say yes. Not that they don't want to, but that they have parameters and they have rules that they have to follow, and getting ourselves prepped to follow those rules gives us a better opportunity at success than just coming in and thinking, I have this great revolutionary idea, some angel investor is going to love my great revolutionary idea and give me a bunch of money, not realizing that that angel investor saw 100 pitches this week. And the ones that already make their life easier are the ones they're probably going to invest in. So in order to do that, we have 3 key programs that we use to support founders. Our first is our Pitch Night program. It is a 0 barrier to entry access to capital program. Every other month we give away 10 grand. It's that simple. You can be at idea stage, you can be fully developed, you can go to our website, startupzoo.org/pitch, and you can apply. There are no residency requirements. There are no business stage requirements. You don't have to have been open for 2 years. You don't have to have customers yet. You don't even have to have your product finished. But you better be really good at pitching because the competition is intense. We've had folks come from as far as Tulsa and Toronto. We've had folks from all over the state. We've had winners in Lansing. We've had winners in Detroit. We've had winners in Kalamazoo. And part of what we're looking at here is how do we continue to draw really, really good entrepreneurs into this community for the entrepreneurs in this community to learn from, and for the entrepreneurs in this community to understand what it takes to compete on the national scale. Because if you're gonna build it and somebody's gonna buy it from you, it might as well be good enough to buy anywhere in this country instead of just good enough to buy in this city. Second is our residency program. It is a 12-month intensive, it's a slog. We put people through a very, very challenging, rigorous program where our job is to hold them accountable to getting good at monthly and quarterly reporting to investors and getting their messaging right so that as they're making progress through the business, we're learning how do we set goals effectively, how do we report on those goals effectively to stakeholders, and then how do we go through the fundraising process and make sure we have all of the tools, all of the documentation, all the information right so that we can either raise private capital, raise angel funds, raise venture funds, and honestly, most frequently, go get debt. Because most businesses can use debt financing before they can use other types of financing. Now, if any of you here, quick show of hands, if any of you here worked at Google, Amazon, Facebook, no? Okay, so most of you are probably gonna have more opportunities to get debt financing than you are to get angel financing in this market, in this community right now. And because of that, understanding what the terms are that are available and how to get access to that capital is really important. Now, again, med device in this community, totally different. You got background at Pfizer, you got background at Stryker, you got background coming through the university, building a new technology. There is a ton of capital available. Michigan is one of the few states that's expanding on venture capital, and it's growing faster than any other state in the country right now, which is mind-blowing. We were also way behind for a long time. So the growth that we're seeing is a catch-up, not so much that we're getting ahead, just that we haven't seen the contraction quite yet. But there is a lot of opportunity and there's a lot of capital floating around in this state. So there's access to cash, but you do have to be primarily in this state looking at mobility, looking at AI, looking at battery tech, looking at med device. Like there are some industry verticals that Michigan historically does really well. And if you're outside of those verticals, it's hard to raise money here. My job is not to make you comfortable and not to tell you that it's gonna be all sunshine and rainbows, but it's to help you get to how do we win in the game that we're playing. And then last is our Southwest Michigan Entrepreneurship Summit. We do that every September, and we bring founders from all over the state and thought leaders from across the country together. We've had Doug Song, founder of Duo Security, first to get a $1 billion exit in Michigan as our keynote speaker. We've had Chris Heavley, who wrote a book called Build the Fort that is about how to build entrepreneurship communities. He used to work previously with the folks from Techstars, and before that was co-founder of a little company called MapQuest that maybe some of us who are above 40 have heard about. And so those are the kinds of folks that we try to bring into the community to talk about what's happening entrepreneurship-wise nationwide to connect to the local resource. Our Pitch Night program so far, we are over 500 attendees. We actually need to update this slide because we've just passed the $100,000 mark in terms of capital deployed, and we've had 18 funding recipients out of about 140 applicants. And so I say that to say, it's only 140 applicants. You should apply. In our residency program, we've had 9 resident companies. One of those has been accepted to level up to the Target Accelerator. We have a partnership with Target. We have a partnership with Google for Entrepreneurs, where we're providing content from their programs as well to our residency programs, teaching folks, again, how to get into that vertical, to learn how to scale and sell at scale to scale retail, to learn how to engage with scale AI and software products. And then so far and counting, we're at about a $750,000 capital impact from follow-on capital and sales growth to the 9 companies that have come through this program. So again, first and most important, sign up for Pitch Night, come to Pitch Night, support entrepreneurs, come see what's going on in the community entrepreneurship-wise. We always have a DJ, we always have free drinks, we have a wonderful wine sponsor who takes care of us. A lot of you have been there. Thank you guys for coming. We hope to see you again. And for the rest of you, we hope to see you for the first time. And the next one is on May 2nd. So you've got a little bit of time. We've got 30 days. Applications open on the 21st of this month, so you've got some time. The application is not hard. It's not long, but it is detailed. So know your stuff. And then our residency starts in October. We haven't started what our new application cohort will be for that residency program, but coming up in October of this year, the current cohort will be ending. We'll have some space for a new one. And this is a quick rundown of our portfolio companies out of our residency right now, if you want to look up some of the companies that we've worked with and that we are continuing to work with. Everything from a clothing startup to a wine brand to a natural cork yoga products brand. So all over the place and in scope, and then a medical product that's a AI powered software that runs scheduling for in-home healthcare. All right, and that's my time. Questions?
How long has this been going on?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. Startups Zoo started in 2014 as a support group for founders. I was one. There were a bunch of us. We got together and had drinks once a month and talked about why being a founder in a community this size was hard, and also talked about, hey, I'm struggling with this. Has anybody done this before? And did a lot of co-learning. And then in 2022, we decided to reboot. We had taken a break for a few years because most of us realized that the biggest challenge in this community was access to capital, and we weren't finding great success in solving that problem. So we said, okay, we need to take some time and become folks who can produce that access to capital. 2022, we came back, we raised a little bit of money. We got our first pitch night fund from Google. Currently, we are funded from some other community partners as well. And we're able to put together the fund to be able to do our pitch night competitions. And then this opportunity with the SBDC, with the MEDC came along for us to be able to fund our residency program. And so we've been doing that stuff since 23. Residency has been in place since 24, and we're in our second cohort.
Thank you so much for that. It sounds like you guys are doing amazing work. I had a question about, you talked about, getting funding early for a lot of startup companies in Michigan is difficult, particularly outside of life sciences. And one of your recommendations potentially is to go and get debt early. Kind of, what's your talk track or your guidance to companies that aren't yet cash flowing that go out and get debt early on in their journey?
Don't. Also, I did, right? Like, I had a company that wasn't cash flowing and burned up credit card debt in order to get my start. I was also at that point third round through my entrepreneurship journey and knew I had 3 other ways to pay it back if I had to, and was willing to take on a whole ton of risk and take it on the chin if I had to. Thankfully, it didn't go that way, and I made some money and it worked out, right? But the reality is, the game is not open to everybody to play. It should be, but it's not. And if you don't have capital to cover your first swing in entrepreneurship, or you don't have relationships to get you access to capital to cover that first swing, the reality is you should probably get really good at your job, cut your expenses down to nothing, and save some cash. And that's hard. It's hard to hear. It's particularly hard to hear when you're, at a later stage in life and you got kids and a partner and a car payment and a mortgage and all of that stuff, right? But for those of you in this room who don't have those things yet, keep your roommates, stay in your crappy apartment, keep eating ramen noodles, don't learn how good Kobe beef is yet, right? Like, focus on you leveraging your capital to plug into the business while you have access to take risk at a high level, because that access to take risk doesn't come back. Life just gets exponentially more expensive, and your capacity for risk changes. So the earlier you can get a little bit of cash flow, the better. And then if you're trying to figure it out, we're happy to take on, we do 15-minute sessions with anybody you can schedule through our website, and we're happy to have a conversation with folks and talk about how do we get you to commercialization faster, even at a test level, to say, is there demand for this? Do people want this? Is this a thing? Because also the other opportunity when you're pre-revenue is to get out there and kind of do a water temperature test and say, we're going to run some ads, we're going to spend $50, right? Like, you can come up with that. And we're going to figure out, is there demand? Will people sign up for an email list? Will people sign up for a pre-launch request? Then you can go talk to some folks with some capital and say, here's the volume of interest we have in this thing. Here's how much it'll cost to take that volume of interest and turn it into a real thing and actually get some revenue. And then it's a little easier to start looking for some private debt.
I'm going to check the room's temperature real quick.
Time check. We're over.
We typically are finished with our presentation, our wrap-up comments by our MC at this point in time. Is everyone comfortable staying an extra 10 minutes, or do we want to wrap up?
I think we should wrap and go to just
Should we wrap?
I think we can wrap, and I'm happy to chat one-on-one with anybody who wants to for about 10 minutes.
Then my closing remark would be, if you have not checked in, please use the QR code at the table and check in. Kaufman does monitor our attendance very closely, so we ask your assistance with that. And with that, thank you so much.
Thank you guys for giving me some time.